Welcome back to Another Moment in Time. I'm Rebecca Bryant.
And I'm Margaret Campbell.
We're going to be talking to you today about all of the vast numbers of museums that we have in Giles County. It's fascinating to me. We're a county of about 30,000 people, but we have a number of museums that will help you learn your history, your local history. And for the most part, they're all free. I will encourage you at the start to call ahead, confirm hours, and find out if there is an admission fee. All of these museums are wonderful for family-oriented entertainment. A lot of them also will, from time to time, rent out their facilities if you have a family reunion or something like that. So you really need to check into this. Again, I encourage you to contact the organization, find out their hours. For the most part, they are fee-free. However, most museums are always strapped for money. Very happy with donations.
Very happy for you to make a donation.
And very happy with volunteers. So we're going to start here in Pulaski. I just wanted to talk with you first about the Giles County Museum. It's right there at the Giles County Library. It is hosted by the Giles County Historical Society, right off the side from the genealogy room. Fascinating collection of different things. Nice for you to call ahead, make sure that you'll have someone to kind of help you walk through and learn about the different facets. So it's a lot of different collections about Giles County from the people that came here, how we were formed, of course a lot of Civil War history, a lot of war history, and also a lot of the agricultural strengths that we have within this county. So going from there, there's also one that people don't know a lot about. It's at the Pulaski Citizen newspaper.
That's true.
They have a museum.
They do have a great museum.
It's awesome because if you ever remember back in the day, the old Apple computers, those were the biggies, right? They have one of those, and it's just comical to look at it today. You know, like, ooh, 356 kilobytes. All right, we're doing great. They also have one of the original printing presses. It is virtually impossible to have anyone work on it except for true master craftsmen, but they still have it there. And again, call ahead of time and just make sure that you can come in and take a look at it. They're very proud to show that off to you.
They have a great selection too of books on the history of Giles County, and cover a lot of different subjects.
Yes, that's true. Access the Giles County Historical Society at the library. So you have a lot of good places to pick up on your history within Giles County. Staying within the city limits of Pulaski, we also have the Sam Davis Museum. It's also within what we call the Sam Davis Historical District. It's a very small, tiny, precious museum.
It is.
I love it. It is not open all the time. Contact the Historical Society or the library and find out the hours of operation. But it has a lot of different great pieces and artifacts. Sam Davis was the boy hero of the Confederacy. Although he died at the age of 21, so he was not technically a boy. He holds a soft spot within the family members of the Confederacy at that time. He was actually a spy, and he had captured information on the Federal or the Union troop movements. And once he was captured in Minor Hill, right here within Giles County, he refused to give up his sources, refused to provide any information that might have helped the other side, the Federal troops at that time. He was a very unique character, although his birthplace is in another place within Tennessee. They have a museum for him in Nashville. And of course we have the capture site within Minor Hill, and we have the Sam Davis Museum here in Giles County in Pulaski.
Beautiful little Greek Revival architectural jewel right in the middle of town.
Gorgeous. It has a lot of important artifacts, including the execution shackles that he was wearing when he was executed.
And it's actually built on the site where he was hung.
Correct. That is correct. Yeah, you'll see a monument right off the square, but that was not where he was hung. So it really is that museum shows you exactly where he met his death. Also staying within Pulaski, we have the Trail of Tears Interpretive Center. This one is a fairly new one. It chronicles and it helps to share the story of the Indian Removal Act that the United States went through in the 1830s. Very sad time in our history, but it was the panels and the information that you find within the Interpretive Center are very informational, very educational, and were put together with the help of the Middle Tennessee State University. So a lot of research, a lot of time went into it. Again, great for school groups and church organizations, that type of thing. Just make sure to call ahead of time to find out what the hours are. If you'll call the Giles County Chamber of Tourism and Commerce ahead of time, they will make sure to have someone facilitate a tour for you so that you can walk through both the grounds and inside. It tells you the Indian Removal Act of the 1830s, but Pulaski has a very unique history within the Trail of Tears in that it's one of the only places within the South where two different trails intersected. The Bell Route and the Bench Route. We'll not get into all the information. You need to go down there and check it out. You will learn everything, and fascinating.
And there's a beautiful piece of art down there that depicts a family as they may have looked when they were on the trail. And also a great map of the state of Tennessee that shows you the divisions and exactly where the trails crossed each other.
And the kids love
to walk on it.
They do.
Love it.
They do. A lot like the one in front of the courthouse, where it shows all the counties and everything. So that's really kind of a neat thing for the kids to do. Let's not forget the Civil War markers and other historical markers dotted throughout the county. Civil War markers are part of the Civil War trails, of which Maryland, Tennessee, Ohio, and Michigan, I think, are part of, which I find pretty fascinating. We have 4 Civil War trail markers within Giles County. Of the 274, we have 4 of them, and we were at the very forefront when the program started. There is one at Lairland Farmhouse. There is one in Minor Hill, capture site of Sam Davis. Right. There is one at Campbellsville that also tracks Civil War movements, and of course also one in Elton, where Sherman crossed the Elk River in his move going to Atlanta. If you ever want to look at those, look at hmdb.com, which is historicalmarkerdatabase.com, which will show you not only the Civil War trail markers, but it'll also show you all the little silvery metal signs that you see standing on the side of the road. You can find them because a lot of these things are not accessible in your car. You see them and think, oh goodness, I wanted to read that, but you just can't get there. So very fascinating to me personally. So the markers are placed at Maryland, North Carolina, Tennessee, Virginia, and West Virginia. A little bit outside of Pulaski is the Lairland Farmhouse and Civil War Museum. Lairland itself is a living museum, okay? It has so much information. It has beautiful grounds, wonderful history about the home itself, built in the early 1800s, tons of history. The owners, Donna and Benita Rouleau, they have collections within the house, and again, they live in this home. They open up their home from time to time to individuals like myself that just are fascinated by the history of it. But within the home, within the living museum, is another museum. It's a Civil War museum that Don Rouleau has collected over the last 30 years. It has so many fascinating
Some
artifacts.
of the most impressive pieces I've ever seen. They're just...
And a few things you're really going to have to set up a time to go see them, because I saw 2 different sets of eyeglasses, and when Mr. Rouleau explained to me what one set was for and the other one wasn't, I was rather intrigued. Remember, you're talking Civil War, you're talking most soldiers, they were in their early 20s. Maybe into their 30s, but most of them were pretty young men, so they were far away from home. They have some interesting, but from uniforms to guns to ways in which people funded the war, it's just a great comprehensive collection.
And just everyday items that people used.
Just the everyday stuff. Just the everyday stuff. It really is amazing. It was placed on the National Register in the 1830s, but it's placed on the Historic Register. So it is a very unique home. And it's just full of stories, and Donna Benita will be happy to tell you all about it. Now, continue to move outside of the Pulaski area. We have Linville, the Linville Railroad Museum. It has everything that you want to know about the iron horses or the railroads. It's a pretty small little museum. It's replicated on what a railroad depot would have looked like in the 1930s in Linville proper. It has a couple of dummies that they do, or mannequins that one is showing the life of a telegrapher, and the other one is the conductor. It has a complete engine, has a complete caboose, it has a complete rail car where people would walk in and walk out. It's pretty comprehensive in terms of what you want to know about railroads. A lot of different artifacts are pretty fascinating for me. I learned a lot about railroads within that, and that's pretty much what created this country, helped us to proceed and progress to be the modern nation that we are. Let's keep moving outside of Giles County, outside of Pulaski, and let's move down south to Elton. In Elton, you will find the Matt Gardner Homestead Museum. Matt Gardner was a fascinating character. He was born into slavery in 1847. He died in 1943. This gentleman, he became, even though he was an uneducated slave when he was born, he went on to be instrumental in the education of African Americans. He helped to build a Rosenwald school. He would finance teachers.
House them in his home.
Yes, he did everything because he was so solid on the fact that everyone needs to be educated. Doesn't matter who you are, everyone needs to be educated. He was also a very successful farmer.
He was.
Now, when you think about an African American coming out of slavery who went on to own 300 acres of land.
River bottom land.
River bottom land, very prosperous. He was a great farmer. He had a lot of respect within the communities all around. And he did help a lot of different people. Again, check the hours, but it's certainly a place to look at. You can look at the grounds. They'll have some of the various outbuildings, the smokehouse and the barn, but with inside, you'll have actually some of Reverend Gardner's actual pieces that he owned when he was still alive. Again, fascinating subject. We also have the Ardmore Heritage Room down in Ardmore. This is located also within the Ardmore Public Library. It's open whenever the library is open. Ardmore is kind of unique because it's one of these on-the-edge states, communities. It actually consists of a city and a town, 4 counties and 2 states. So Ardmore's history is very unique. It was also a railroad town. They had a train depot going through there. It's very fascinating to look at some of the information that you will find down there, a little bit different than what you would see in the Giles County Museum. And again, they have a different story to share. So I find that very fascinating. If you want to keep moving south, outside of Giles County, not that I would recommend that anyone do that necessarily, but this is for the veterans. There's the Veterans Museum in Athens, Alabama. It is a great location to come visit. It pays respect to and honor to all of the veterans of every war, going from the very start to current. Very comprehensive. They're great people. Again, they have a lot of events. You need to go and check out their website as well. And I almost forgot to tell you about the Barton Art Gallery, or the Galt Fine Arts Center at Martin Methodist
University.
I have seen a couple of exhibits there. It is something that you would see in any large metropolis. It is a classy, well-preserved, well-thought-out museum, and they will have occasional exhibits there. Sometimes it might just be featuring the local students' art, but it also might have things that are on a national scope as well. So we have a lot to learn about, and we have a lot of places in which you can learn within Giles County. I hope you'll check out some of them. Again, as I said, please remember to call ahead, check the hours, see if there's an admission fee, and donations and volunteers are always welcome.
Absolutely, and we highly recommend that you play tourist in your own community.
Absolutely, be a tourist in your own hometown.
That's right.
Yep, I agree with that. Thank you, we appreciate it. We hope to see you again soon.